Okay, so I'm recording both. I'm streaming on YouTube. We'll see how this goes. And I'm recording here with Sun and Moon Yoga Studio. Happy New Year. Hope for many adventures, many openness to what's new this coming year. Let me start with a bell. Thank you for joining me today, for joining Sun and Moon Yoga Studio this new year. You hear some noises in the background. We try to set up our space as teachers through the ages have advised us. Set up your space so that it's free of distraction, but we never know. We never know what will come. So full disclosure, this is the room behind the couch. We have our litter boxes. So you may hear some scratching back there sometimes. Never know. I was going to share a poem that Jackie forwarded to us, again, a Wendell Berry poem on how to be a poet. And I still might do that. She shared it on Friday with us. Instead, I'm going to read a different poem by John O'Donohue to start us off. And as we get centered and drop into hearing the poet's words, you also might make any preparations. I think what I'm really craving today is a legs up the couch. So different from legs up the wall, legs up the chair, or legs up the hassock. It's something that's about the height of a chair seat or a hassock. Again, you can choose to just stay whatever position you like. Maybe you're watching this following along in bed. That's fine too. But for me, I'll just shift the view in a little while after our centering and show you how to get into legs up the hassock or chair. I want to just say I'm a little negligent to have looked at what's coming up in Sun and Moon's Yoga Studios offerings, but do check our website for the various classes you might join. I may be joining Jen Ebert's class sometimes. She teaches on Monday and Tuesday mornings. Her Monday class may sound a little daunting. It's called Functional Vinyasa. So Vinyasa is sort of like, what is that? And it's often quite rigorous. But her class, she's a massage therapist, a very skilled, very tuned into subtle energy with lots of things in her toolkit, craniosacral work as well. And she's come to mind because somebody asked me for a therapeutic class, or that they need a class that's gentle for us older bodies. And and I've had massage with her. She's fabulous. And I've been meaning to take her class for a long time. So a little New Year's hope for that. Another thing coming up that I haven't read the details, toward the end of January, I'm quite sure this is available by Zoom as well. Our friend Teresa Murphy, who lives up in Massachusetts, is partnering with our studio director and yoga teacher, Annie, to have a weekend on topics related to death. So that also is a daunting sounding thing, perhaps to some, but for some of us, especially if you've read, especially some of the Eastern traditions, to ponder our own death, to ponder the impermanence of things, for sure, is part of that teaching. So if that piques any interest in you, you can look that up as well. And I welcome someone new on the registry was Addie. I hope to meet you sometime here on Zoom, at least. Okay, so that maybe while I talked all that, giving you the preludes and information, hopefully you're finding where you want to settle, what position you want to be in for getting grounded, for arriving. Virginia, who's here with us on Zoom, you once shared, I may be paraphrasing this, something your dad would say, maybe every morning, maybe many mornings, something like, today's going to be the best day of my life because I've never had it. I probably got that a little wrong, but it's kind of, it sort of turns things, like, instead of the unknown, it's kind of like has this confidence that something good is going to happen, or something interesting, or something wonderful, something the best, because I've never had it before. So this newness of the new year, the new day, each day. So John and O'Donohue, from this book, To Bless Space Between Us, is a fabulous resource. So as you listen to his words, listen lightly, listen openly, and as you listen, feel your own place, your body, feel the ground where you're sitting, lying, being. It's called For Your Birthday, but we could imagine that it's for any new day. Blessed be the mind that dreamed the day the blueprint of your life would begin to glow on earth, illuminating all the faces and voices that would arrive to invite your soul to growth. Praised be your father and mother who loved you before you were and trusted to call you here with no idea who you would be. Blessed be those who have loved you into becoming who you were meant to be. And blessed be those who have crossed your life with dark gifts of hurt and loss that have helped to school your mind in the art of disappointment. When desolation surrounded you, blessed be those who looked for you and found you, their kind hands urgent to open a blue window in the gray wall formed around you. Blessed be the gifts you never notice, your health, eyes to behold the world, thoughts to countenance the unknown, memory to harvest vanished days, your heart to feel the world's waves, your breath to breathe the nourishment of distance made intimate by earth. On this echoing day of your birth, may you open the gift of solitude in order to receive your soul. Enter the generosity of silence to hear your hidden heart, and know the serenity of stillness to be enfolded anew by the miracle of your being. Your breath to breathe the nourishment of distance made intimate by earth. Solitude, silence, stillness. And so we can just soak for a few moments in these words and how they landed in us. And you might, as you let perhaps the shimmerings or the vibrations that have come from that listening, that taking in, as you still hold those, perhaps there's some way, this is kind of hot off the press, so to speak, not planned, but somehow reading that poem, you might have seen at one point I brought my hand to my heart. There may be that kind of gesture that you're feeling. Maybe there's a bowing, maybe just a bowing. I'm just so listen for yourself. There may be a gesture that feels appropriate that's kind of calling you in response to hearing that blessing. And so, again, your choice. You may choose to just stay where you are in position, or join me as I'm going to just shift to get into legs up my couch there. And you could also have nearby maybe something to cover you as it might get chilly, maybe something to put under your head if you know that when you're lying on your back that's more comfortable for you. And so near your chair or couch or hassock, you if it's a chair, you would go to one side of it, the side that's close here, if this was a chair. So I've got a lot of space, but if it's a chair or hassock, we'll be lying onto our side. And then once we're on our side, we roll onto our back. So we're actually going to be a little behind us right now, what it looks like right now. So lie onto my side. Just checking that I'm still visible up there in the window. I think so. I know this is a favorite of many people, and Catherine, Marianne, I'm sorry, Mary Jane, jeez, maybe Marianne too. Okay, and I've got a scarf to cover, and then we're arriving again. Maybe your legs are a little bit apart. If you've repositioned, just relaxed. Let every part of you settle. Those words in the poem at the end really hit home for me in our practice. Solitude, stillness, silence. And while we are together here, in a sense, we're together, powerfully together, it is our own journey that we're on. No one can take it for us. And it is a transformational journey. I was revisiting, I need to look up to get this, one of the Yoga Sutras, of a sort of instructional yoga manual, ancient one. The second verse defines yoga as yoga is to still the patterning of consciousness. All right, before I delve back into unpacking that a bit, let me take you through settling here a little bit more through the landmarks of our body, the feet, your shins and calves, how they touch the ground beneath, bringing the distance close. And if you're choosing to be with us and legs up the chair, couch, hassock, I think of it as sort of a waterfall of the legs, the upper legs, just allowed to hang, suspended. One of the most relaxing positions for the legs, the hips, the low belly and all the organs there, the bony intersections in the hip joints and the lower back, the connection of torso to legs. The feel of the middle back, the upper back, even perhaps visiting an individual rib. The feel that maybe my kidneys are somewhere in there and how they're resting into this shape, this permission, this holding of the ground, by the ground. Shoulders, the upper back connected to the shoulders, the feel of that region and all the various parts, the parts closer to the shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades, the spine, the heart and lungs resting in there, letting themselves be heavy. The heaviness of the upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists and hands, fingers. And then the neck and head. And then the wholeness of your body, sensing the wholeness of your body, which cannot be separated out from your heart, emotions, memories, experiences, thoughts, images. So all are welcome here, but again and again, we touch into the being that is prior, always source, that is what can welcome or spar with or hide from. It's what meets every life wave. So always useful, even as I invite us now to a little bit of movement of the head, just rolling side to side. And as you're rolling your head side to side, just make it light and easy. Imagine that movement is coming from the back of the neck and the back of the head. That's where the movement is initiated from and gives the push and flow. And feel free to just stop anywhere in the movement or stop back at center. In fact, do that purposely from time to time. I may suggest it, but just after, say, 5 or 6 movements back and forth, just pause. And then resume, but now imagine that the movement is happening due to the nose pulling, pushing. I don't know how you might feel it. And as I just mentioned a few moments ago, while I'm giving you words that are localized to nose or head or neck, kind of have running in the background the feel of the whole of yourself. And so you might sense what's happening in the low back and even in the belly or the low ribs or even in the hips and legs as the nose pushes and pulls our head, and then we come to a stop, maybe with the head turned a little to one side still. And now imagine that it's the eyes that roll your head side to side. It's where the movement happens from, initiated by. And you may notice that one of these, so far we've had three different initiators. They probably feel different. Maybe not, but maybe. You might like how one of these has felt more than another. And then another pause, or maybe you already took a pause and you keep going for now. Pause and pausing, just receive in the stillness, receive all you feel, receive the breath, receive the notes being given you. And finally, this last one, imagine the movement is coming from the belly, the deep low belly, where I envision sometimes a golden ball. But the movement's guided from there, which is quite different, quite a bit away from there. Might feel some challenge to that. If you haven't yet, enjoy your movement along with exploring, feeling, listening for, labeling, and then pause. Sense back into that beingness that's the blank slate of all that you experience and is all that you experience. Sort of mysteriously both wave and ocean at the same time. If I was to choose for myself what I'm going to invite you next, I would just stay where I am. But as guide, I feel like I'm gonna come up to sitting, so you could stay where you are and marinate in that stillness and all that's happened there. Or you could, like me, gently, mindfully shift to a seated position or to some other position of your choice for a few minutes of stillness. So yoga is the stilling of the patterning of consciousness. And as we take this just maybe 4-minute stillness, aka meditation practice, for me, that is one of the most vital parts of my practice is to listen for, as I've been noting today, the being prior to all, the being that was the same the day I was born, that was the same 60 years ago, a week ago, always, always, that vast, timeless, boundless being and source. Of all that we experience, and we get caught up in the experience, the waves, the patterns, and many of them are beautiful. I would say all of them rich, as the poem pointed to, even the dark places, the difficulties, the challenges, they get to form us and grow our soul in a sense. And so as we sit still, we get to feel, see, witness sensations, thoughts, images, colors, and to feel deeply into that stillness being. And as we bring our stillness practice to a close, even if you're in a reclined position, or you might just do this bow internally, or you can, where the eyes just pull down and the back of the neck gets long, or you can make a larger gesture of a bow. And so this solitude that really sunk into me, that word, through this poem. And yet it feels to me so vital that those of you watching now or with me now on Zoom and on YouTube, perhaps, and watching later, how powerful that is for this individual, this aLex's practice, and yet we all are participate to strengthening it, this whatever we're doing. And I think you might remember, I think this app is still around. This app came to be, oh, I don't know how many years ago. I think it was called Insight Timer. Do you know that? I'm getting a yes. The one where I think its intention back then, it would just be you could time your meditation and have various nice bells to start you off and finish, I thought that was like the fun part of it. But it also showed you back then, and it still does, I think, how many people and where they are meditating all over the world and at the same time that you are. And I think now there's all kinds of guided meditations on there as well by various wonderful teachers. So it's a great resource. So similarly, there's something so powerful there for us. So thank you. I'm going to bring the recording to a close with the bell. And then those of you who'd like to stay on Zoom and visit a little, that would be wonderful. And June says, happy first week of 2026. Thank you, June. Just a moment to end all this.